The first sign that something was wrong came long before I ever stepped into the woods. Looking back now, I can trace everything back to a single decision made during my first week at Southern Lehigh High School in Pennsylvania. I had just moved there before my junior year. Starting over at a new school sounds manageable when you're imagining it from a distance. In reality, it's a different story. Everyone already knew everyone. Friend groups had been established years earlier. Hallways felt like closed circles of familiar faces, private jokes, and conversations I wasn't part of. The hardest part wasn't class. It was lunch. Unlike seniors, juniors weren't allowed to leave campus. Every day I had to walk into a crowded cafeteria knowing I didn't have a single person to sit with. The thought alone filled me with dread. On the first Friday of school, I carried my tray into the cafeteria and immediately realized every table was occupied. Students packed every corner of the room. Conversations overlapped into a constant wall of noise. I scanned the room again. That's when I noticed a table in the far corner. Only 2 students sat there. Compared to the crowded groups everywhere else, it seemed like the safest option. I walked over nervously. "Mind if I sit here?" The 2 boys exchanged a glance. Then one shrugged. "Yeah, go ahead." As I sat down, I noticed something unusual. They were identical twins. Their resemblance was almost perfect. Same dark hair, same facial features, same expression. They introduced themselves as Antonio and Bruno. To my surprise, they were friendly. We talked through the entire lunch period. They asked where I'd moved from. They joked around. They made me feel welcome in a place where I'd felt completely invisible only hours earlier. For the first time since arriving at the school, I felt relieved. Maybe making friends wouldn't be impossible after all. By the end of lunch, we exchanged numbers. "Maybe we'll hang out sometime," Bruno said. "Sure," I replied. I honestly meant it. When school ended that afternoon, I went home feeling better than I had all week. Then, around dinner time, my phone buzzed. A text from Bruno. He and Antonio were planning to hang out later that night. There was apparently a cool spot near the local cemetery they wanted to show me. Meet around 9. The cemetery was only about 10 minutes from my house. It was Friday, no school the next day, and most importantly, I didn't want to spend another weekend sitting alone in a new town. So I texted back, "Yeah, I'm in." At around 8:45 that night, Bruno sent another message. "You still coming?" "Yeah," I replied, leaving in a few. We confirmed we'd meet on the road beside the cemetery. Nothing about it seemed especially strange at the time. Teenagers meet in random places all the time. Still, as I walked through the darkness toward the cemetery, an uncomfortable feeling slowly began creeping into the back of my mind. The streets were quiet. Most houses had already turned off their lights. A cool breeze moved through the trees, making the branches rustle overhead. I kept thinking about how quickly my life had changed. A new house, a new school, new people, and now I was walking toward a cemetery at night to meet 2 kids I'd known for less than a day. When I finally reached the road beside the cemetery, I texted Bruno, "Where are you guys?" The response came immediately. "We're in the woods near a small lake." A location pin appeared seconds later. I stared at it for a moment, then started walking. The woods swallowed the little light that existed. I used my phone screen as a flashlight, pushing branches aside and stepping over roots hidden beneath the leaves. Every few minutes I checked the location. Closer, closer, closer. Finally, I felt like I had reached the area. "Bruno," I called. Nothing. "Antonio," only silence. Then I heard footsteps. Very slow footsteps. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I froze. The sound was definitely getting closer. "Don't tell me you're trying to scare me," I shouted. No answer. The footsteps continued. Slow, deliberate, moving through the darkness toward me. A knot formed in my stomach. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. I turned around and started walking back toward the road. At first, the footsteps remained slow. Then suddenly they accelerated. Fast. Too fast. Before I could react, someone lunged from behind. Hands wrapped around my neck. Sharp fingernails dug into my skin. I couldn't breathe. Panic exploded through me. As I struggled against the chokehold, I heard a voice nearby. A familiar voice. "Grab him. Grab him." The realization hit instantly. "Bruno." Somehow I managed to wrench myself free. I didn't stop to think. I ran. Branches slapped against my face. Leaves cracked beneath my shoes. Behind me, I heard movement. They were chasing me. I pushed harder. The road finally appeared through the trees. I burst from the woods and sprinted without looking back. I ran all the way home. Only when I reached my front door did I stop. My neck burned where the nails had dug into my skin. My lungs felt like they were on fire. And for the first time that night, I understood something terrifying. Those twins had never wanted to be my friends. My parents immediately knew something was wrong. I burst through the door, gasping for breath. My mother stood up from the couch. What happened? I explained everything. The texts, the woods, the attack, the chase. My father examined the marks on my neck, while my mother suggested calling the police immediately. Instead, we decided to document everything first. Photographs were taken of the scratches. Screenshots were saved of every text message Bruno had sent. The next day, the entire situation was reported to the school. Fortunately, the messages provided proof that the twins had lured me into the woods. After meetings with school administrators, Antonio and Bruno were expelled. My parents made me block both numbers immediately. I didn't argue. I wanted absolutely nothing to do with them anymore. Still, one question bothered my parents. Do they know where we live? I thought about it. As far as I know, no. That answer seemed to reassure everyone, at least for a little while. About a week later, I woke up suddenly in the middle of the night. Something felt wrong. The room was freezing. For several seconds I lay there confused. Then I heard it. Wind. A steady stream of cold air moving through my room. I sat up. My bedroom window was completely open. Not cracked. Not partially raised. Wide open. I stared at it. The temperature outside was around 50 degrees. Nobody would open a window on a night like that. I climbed out of bed and shut it. Then I walked to my parents' room. My mother answered first. Half asleep. What is it? Did you open my window? She immediately sat up. No. What? My window was wide open. That got her attention. She shook my father awake. He listened to the story and sighed. Go back to bed, he muttered. You're overthinking it. I wasn't convinced, but I returned to my room anyway. The hallway was dark and quiet. My parents' bedroom door remained open behind me. As I approached my room, something caught my attention. My bedroom door. When I'd left, it had been fully open. Now it looked partially closed. Just slightly. Almost as if someone had moved it. I stopped walking. My heartbeat suddenly felt much louder. Every instinct told me not to go inside. Yet I stepped forward anyway. Slowly, carefully, and pushed the door open just enough to look through the gap. What I saw instantly turned my blood cold. There was someone standing behind my bedroom door. For a moment, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. A human figure. Motionless. Hidden. Watching. The realization hit all at once. Someone was inside my room. I screamed. Not a shout. Not a yell. A full panic scream. The kind that comes from pure terror. The figure reacted immediately. The door slammed shut. My father burst from his bedroom. What happened? There's somebody in my room. I was practically hysterical. Without hesitation, my father charged past me and threw the door open. The bedroom light flashed on. For a split second, everything seemed frozen. Then we saw movement. A leg disappearing through the open window. Whoever had been hiding there was escaping. My father ran to the window. Stay here. Seconds later, he was racing downstairs. The front door slammed. I stood in the hallway shaking uncontrollably. Every possible thought crashed through my mind. How long had they been there? Had they been watching me sleep? Had they opened the window? What would have happened if I hadn't noticed the door? Minutes later, my father returned, breathing heavily, angry, frustrated. I lost them. The person had vanished into the darkness. No footprints, no description, nothing, just gone. But in my mind, there was little doubt. I immediately thought of Antonio and Bruno. The timing was impossible to ignore. A week after being expelled, a week after being blamed, a week after being humiliated. Now someone had climbed into my bedroom. My father called the police. When officers arrived, I explained everything from the beginning. The cafeteria, the friendship, the cemetery, the attack, the expulsion, the intrusion. My father confirmed what we had both seen. Unfortunately, there was one major problem. No proof. Nobody had clearly seen the intruder's face. No evidence connected the person in my room to the twins. The officers listened carefully, took notes, and searched the property. But there wasn't much they could do. Without identification, there was no case. Before leaving, they advised us to keep doors and windows secured and strongly recommended installing security cameras around the house. It wasn't the answer I wanted. I wanted certainty. I wanted someone held accountable. Instead, all I had were suspicions. and a growing fear that whoever had entered my room knew exactly where I lived. The weeks that followed were some of the longest of my life. Every sound at night felt significant. A creak in the hallway, a branch tapping against the house, the distant bark of a dog. Anything could jolt me awake. I started checking my window repeatedly before going to bed, then checking it again and again. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night and stare into the darkness for several minutes, just listening, waiting, expecting. The image of that figure behind my bedroom door never left me. I could still picture the silhouette standing there, silent, patient, hidden only a few feet away. What disturbed me most wasn't knowing someone had entered my room. It was wondering how long they had been there before I noticed. Had they been standing there for seconds? Minutes? Longer? There was no way to know. The uncertainty was worse than any answer. My parents eventually installed additional locks and took the police recommendations seriously. Life slowly returned to normal. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Nothing else happened. No messages. No sightings. No more strange incidents around the house. Whoever had been there never came back. At least not that I know of. Even now, years later, I remain convinced it was one or both of those twins. The attack in the woods had already proven they were willing to lure me somewhere isolated. The timing of the break-in felt too perfect to be a coincidence. Yet I'll never be able to prove it. That's what makes the story linger in my mind. Not because of what I know, because of what I don't. I still think about that first day in the cafeteria, the crowded tables, the empty seats, the relief I felt when two strangers welcomed me over. At the time, it felt like incredible luck. The new kid finding friends on his very first day. But sometimes the people who seem the most welcoming are the ones you know the least. And sometimes the worst mistakes begin with decisions that feel completely harmless. If I had chosen a different table, maybe none of it would have happened. Maybe I never would have walked into those woods. Maybe I never would have woken up to an open window in the middle of the night. Maybe I never would have looked through my bedroom door and found someone hiding inside my room. I can't know for sure. What I do know is this. The twins entered my life on a Friday afternoon. By the following week, I was sleeping with fear sitting beside me every single night. And even after all these years, I still remember exactly how that fear felt.